look at how the government measured the performance of the Ghana Water and Sewage Corporation, and then that led to the argument that we should privatize it. As accountants, this was the one that was more interesting to us. We look at revenue that was generated, that was okay. We look at operating expenses, it provided operating income, and when the government built in issues like interest rates, depreciation, and exchange losses, the Ghana Water and Sewage Corporation, massive losses were recorded. So now we see a situation where the government is trying to look at enlisting accounting practices in ways that are, for us, inappropriate. I was going to talk a little bit about the exchange losses. Maybe I should just talk about it as a line that we're not very happy with. This was at the time that the local currency had devalued by about, from the early 1990s to the mid-2000s, the local currency had depreciated by about 4,000%. And this company was going to be suffering a loss because of that. And that was the justification for privatizing it. I'll pick up the pace. Now, moving on with the privatization, how did they do it? They split it into two, the Ghana Water Corporation Company and the Community Water Supply Agency. The same type of thing that we saw in Tanzania, the same type of thing that we saw in Mozambique. Obviously, there has to be a pattern emerging here. The Ghana Water Company Limited, responsible for urban, Community Water Supply Agency, responsible for rural, same type of thing. And who were those actors involved in this? Partners, and we have a question mark on that. The World Bank formed a partnership with the government of Ghana. Very interesting partnership. What was the partnership involving? Okay, I think I'll just move on. The partnership actually involved the World Bank providing loans, and the objectives of those loans were the ones that I captured there. Let's try to significantly increase access to piped water systems to urban centers. Let's restore long-term financial viability and stability to the Ghana Water Company Limited, and rehabilitation of existing network to reduce non-revenue water. So now there's an interesting thing there. You'll recall the picture that I showed earlier on about the rusty pipe. Okay, let's do something about it, but let's do something about it so that we don't lose water. And if we don't lose water, then we can increase the amount of treated water for sale. Who are the key actors that are interested in this? Since the government announced the possibilities of privatizing the water services sector, we see a large number of multinationals that have expressed interest. There's about 3 of them that are put up there. And civil society organizations have reacted to this. When they heard about the government, particularly when the multinational corporations gave that condition of participation, they said to the government, look, if we are guaranteed that every expense that we incur that is prudent, we would make a return on it. So costs that were prudently incurred, the multinationals will not just recover their costs, but they will make a return on it. So in one sense, the government was guaranteeing their profitability. Whereas in the case of Ghana Water Corporation, no one was guaranteeing their profitability. So it became very attractive. William mentioned earlier on that people wouldn't like to invest in the water services sector. In fact, I would invest in this case because for every dollar that I spend, I'm going to be guaranteed $1.35. So why would I put my money there? And that was the attraction that the multinational corporations got and like to participate in this. Civil society organizations decided to participate, and it led to massive demonstrations in the country. And both local and media, aggressive media, local and international were involved. Public forums were organized across the country in all the 10 regions, and vibrant debate started. The government said to the civil society organizations, look, we see where you're coming from, let's engage in a formal way. And the government organized these debates, and the debates up to date are still dragging on. Conclusion. Water scarcity, we will argue, remains one of the most important challenges facing the African governments, and the state-owned enterprises that they established to help in this particular sector need sufficient recapitalization. That is something that we all agree with. However, whether privatization is the way to go remains a questionable one. And I'll conclude on that note. A quote from an African journalist. Privatization is a big issue in many African countries. Investors say it brings efficiency, Opponents say it helps the poor. Whatever one believes, the poor have no say in this matter. Thank you so much.